This thing do what it wants to do.
The new Black Wall Street. To the right, real wealth, real life. Economic empowerment, real tips, insight on the new Black Wall Street. It's on the new Black Wall Street. It's your host.
All right, my beautiful people, man. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us here today. New Black Wall Street presenting to you the Money and Power Show, and we want to welcome you to Wall Street. Give me just a second, guys. I'm just trying to get this old IG Live thing set up. You ever try to get it going and it just cut off, and then it just cut on all of a sudden and it cut off? That's what's going on right now, man. We, having all sorts of trouble. But this will happen when you actually bringing some value to the marketplace, especially to your very own people. Good morning to you guys. We're going to be talking today, man, having an interesting conversation about serial entrepreneurship, multiple streams of income. Now, many of you guys probably are now in a position where you're like, I wish I listened 5 years ago, right? Where you want to make sure you have to put all your eggs in one basket, but that's okay. You can still begin to build streams so you can maintain and also increase, right, and have wealth for yourself. It's just a matter of knowing, okay, well, what does this stream need to come from in times like this? And so we'll be talking about multiple streams of income today. And this was kind of an impromptu topic. I was like, what are we going to talk about? Because there's so much to share, so much going on. I mean, it's been like 3 days since we did a show. So, a lot has happened over the weekend, but we're going to get right into that today. It's the Money and Power Show. We're talking about money and power, guys, politics, money, economics, stuff that you need to know. There's 3 topics, right, are typically considered to be taboo. That one topic is religion. We ain't going to talk about religion today. The second topic is actually economics and money. And the third one is actually politics. And so 2 of those 3 taboo topics, which we've been conditioned to not talk about, we're actually going to talk about. That's right. We are going to talk about here today on this show. I'm ERGJ, your certified financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, ERGJ Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. That book that I wrote, guys, is a study of Black wealth. It's a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if. But if you do, I recommend that you study Wealthy People. You can find that book by simply going to the website www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up the ebook, soft copy in English, or the ebook and audiobook in French for our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Get your copy today. Today's episode is being brought to you by ERGJ Black Bazaar, the Afrocentric marketplace, which specializes in Afrocentric home decor, personal care products, and also Black art-inspired gifts. We want to draw your attention to the personal care products because this is what you need at a time such as this. You need natural products, good products that you can use, from toothpaste to deodorants to oils to essential oils to herbs, things like that, man. Hey, make sure you check out our personal care section at ERGJ Black Bazaar by simply going to the website www.theblackbazaar.com, www.theblackbazaar.com. We here at ERGJ Black Bazaar want you to remember this, that once you shop Black, you never go back. That's right, man. Once you shop Black, you never go back, man. Go ahead and make sure that you support your own, because we pride ourselves in actually selling Black-owned products. That's what we pride ourselves in. So consider us to be the Black Mark, the virtual Black Mark, the mobile Black Mark, whatever it is you want to call it, man, because we can actually continue to do business with each other and practice group economics. Man, while you guys are connecting, man, let us know where you're connecting from, what city, what state, what country, where are you connecting from this morning? We're broadcasting across the World Wide Web, and we're on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, and we love to know just how far our reach is here today. We are broadcasting from our virtual studio in Decatur, Georgia. That's right, Decatur, where it's greater, and love to know just how far have we gone from a little space in Decatur, Georgia. Just how far have we reached here today using this thing called the power of the internet? That's right, the power of the internet. Good morning to you, Miss Phyllis George. Thanks so much for joining. He's up in here. Miss Vivian Reed, good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the Money and Power Show. And we want to welcome you again to Wall Street. That's right. What's going on with you, Miss Phyllis, as well? Anybody else that's here, go and let us know. Don't be rude. I know it's early. You're moving around. Got to get ready for work. Got to get the kids together. But just go ahead and say hello, brother. Thanks so much for bringing this information to us. We're going to be talking about serial entrepreneurship, man. Things that you can do to build wealth for yourself and just give you some hope and some faith and some belief and a mindset that many people just don't have, not realizing, man, I can create. And here's what the good book says. I guess we're going to do some little religion. Good book says that I've given you the power to create wealth. I've given you the power to create wealth. Everybody put in the comments, so I got the power. I've given you the power to create wealth. So if you believe that to be true, then the question is, are you using the power that you've been given? Are you using the power that you've been given? Are you exercising the power that you've been given? You've been given the power to create wealth. Are you using that power to create wealth? Shelly Henry, Sadly Henry. I gotta get my glasses. Thanks so much for joining me out of Massachusetts. Thanks so much for being here today. Mr. Thomas Freeman, good morning to you. I got the power. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Money and Power Show. Hit the like button, the share button if you care. I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. This is why I do what I do. And hopefully you are your brother's keeper. That's why you'll share what we do. So everybody get this free financial, this free business, this free education. Hey, we can't say nobody's doing it. We can can say that, hey, we're not participating. We're not showing up. Now, what I'm going to do here, guys, we're going to pay homage to the ancestors. Then we'll bring our special guest on. Then we'll move forward from there. We're going to pay homage to our ancestors by sharing our inventor of the day. And this comes out of a book, African American Inventions That Changed the World. And the reason why I do this is because I want you to understand that if they could change the world, you can too. You can change the world in which you live in. It may not be through invention, but it's probably going to be through something creative that comes out of your brain, some kind of way. And you can invent a business. I guess we can call it like that. But anyway, so Dr. Thomas Elkins is our ancestor of the day. Dr. Thomas Elkins was born, and he was in the early 1800s. Not sure when he was actually born, but Dr. Thomas Elkins in 1879. Everybody put it down. So 1879. This would be 1979. This would be what, 140 years ago? Yeah. In 1879, Dr. Thomas Elkins invented the improved refrigerator. Okay, the improved refrigerator. He also made improvements to the toilet and dining room table designs. So in 1879, he invented the improved refrigerator. This device utilized metal cooling coils that became very cold. It produced cool air that filled an enclosed area with a sealed refrigerated box. His device included a vacuum-sealed door that was designed to keep cool air inside, which allowed perishable items inside to remain fresh for longer periods of time. In 1872, Dr. Elkins also invented the improved chamber commode, which we call the toilet. His commode design was a combination of bureau, mirror, book rack, washstand, table, easy chair, and chamber stool. It was a very unusual piece of furniture. His innovation led to many modern-day toilet designs that are still in use today. Dr. Elkins was also an abolitionist. He was the secretary of the Vigilance Committee, an anti-slavery organization that formed in many northern cities in the early 1840s. They protected freedom seekers from re-enslavement. To assist them in their fight to freedom, these vigilance committees provided legal assistance, food, clothing, money, employment, and temporary shelter. Here today on the Money and Power Show, Dr. Thomas Elkins. We put some respect on your name. That's right, man. We put some respect on your name, man. Thanks so much, guys. Again, Dr. Thomas Elkins, 1879. Oh, what a wonderful story when we began to understand real history that we probably didn't know about. So I just learned something today. And anytime I learn something, I say pineapple. So if you learned that today, the first time you ever heard about this brother, Dr. Thomas Elkins, put in the comments on pineapples. That's right. Pineapples, you're going to learn today. All right. So here's what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to bring my special guest in first before we get into our coronavirus update, just because I want to make sure that you have time to get to know this brother and the things that he's doing as a serial entrepreneur. I just really found out he was a serial entrepreneur. I hit him up for one thing, and then when he started talking, he was like, oh, no, I do this and do this and do this and do this too. I said, well, let's switch up the conversation because these folks need to know about entrepreneurship, serial entrepreneurship, ultimately multiple streams of income. So I introduced to you guys, we're going to call him Big Man Culture because that's what he runs, man. He runs a fashion thing called Big Man Culture, some other things as well. How you doing today, brother? Oh, let me
What's
unmute
going
you.
on, man? How are you?
Man, I'm doing absolutely phenomenal, man. Thanks so much for taking the time. I know we've been trying to connect. We both busy men out here making a difference in our community. How are you today?
I'm good.
I'm good. Thanks so much, man. Well, hey, there's some people that don't know about Big Man Culture, don't know who you are, never heard of you before, probably too busy for everybody to see you. If you could take some time to introduce yourself, tell people who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, and why the heck we should listen to you.
Sure, man. Real name Mike Moss. I a serial entrepreneur in a lot of ways. So when you or how we connected is through Big Man Culture. So that is one of my businesses. So Big Man Culture is a fashion styling and lifestyle big and tall. We don't necessarily just only focus on just the big man, but that is a market that we focus with a lot, only because we don't have as many options. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", big guy, big shoulders, things of that nature. So it's hard for me to always have or find things off of the rack. So a lot of times I am able to make those or start some options for my clients. Another thing that you'll find about us is we connect with a lot of lifestyle brands as well. Anything from watches to spirits to cigars to there's a lot of things we connect with. So that is in a nutshell what we do from the big man culture side. Um, I also, for 12 years, have been a owner of a IT consulting firm. So information technology, we actually install or implement HR, payroll, and finance applications around large organizations, and anything from Verizon to we've done local and city government. The city of Richmond, we implemented their entire HR system. Just recently completed Georgia State University, University Systems of Georgia, UGA, Augusta. So we stayed in that realm for a little while. We've some connections with the Navy, CDC, and things of that nature. I'm trying to think of what other major clients. So that's business number two. um, we also have a pathway to government contracting. So that is us being 8A certified, and we can talk about that down the road too. Um, and that's kind of something we could talk about. And stream is actually I deal and dabble in real estate and residential, and I don't know, a couple other things, but those are the income. And lastly, I'm a family man. I'm married, 3 kids, and I'm out in Fayetteville, Georgia, man, and it's actually pretty. I think it's pretty good now. I don't know. I have to open my blinds yet.
Absolutely, man. Again, thanks so much for being here. I got a serial entrepreneur, a man of multiple streams of income. Everybody put it also multiple streams. Now, I'm going to get to a coronavirus update in just a little bit, but something came up and I said, let me ask. You got, let's just say if you're just four, because you probably got more, you're probably not thinking about it, but just talk about
That'd
your
be
four. With this pandemic, this situation that we're dealing with now, of those streams, let's say, which would you say is kind of decline because of what's going on, and which is going up? I mean, where are you putting your focus at now? Because typically we want to put our focus on the things that are successful, and we kind of lose some focus or lose some energy, or put on the back burner things that are not successful. Are you seeing success in all these different areas, or are you starting to see what kind of changes are you seeing in your different streams?
So I said the one that's probably is big man culture. Do custom garments, where we create custom garments, and we also connect with lifestyle brands. So that's probably the reason why I would say that is because my I guess producers, they are being impacted by the economy or economically impacted. So it's hard for them to be able to provide services for me. So let me step back and explain. So I design suits. I don't necessarily make them. I do have a tailor that is stateside in the U.S., and then I also have one that is outside of the U.S. So they were impacted. Both of them were impacted by the coronavirus. Therefore, if they're impacted and I can't produce suits, then and now that is also passed down to my client. So now my client, unfortunately, has to wait and continue to wait until the at least the brunt end of this coronavirus ends. So therefore, the production can continue. So that one has definitely taken a hit.
So that would be the supply chain. Everybody putting on some supply chain.
Right.
So we're basically, if I hear you right, obviously the tailors are impacted, but I'd imagine they're probably impacted because of ability to get the fabric. I'd imagine from wherever the fabric is coming from in order to make the suit that has been designed. Would that be about accurate?
That's correct. Yep, and that's what's been the major issue in the past couple of weeks.
Wow, fantastic! And then the impact. Are your customers understand? Because customers are customers, right? They're like, man, I want my.
Right.
We was expecting to get this thing 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. How are they taking the news, or how are you actually? No, let me tell you. How are you disseminating the news that hey, unfortunately, there's a delay. How is that message coming across? Because it's important too how we convey that message to our customers to alleviate their concerns, let them know, hey, we're still in production or we're still in creation, but there's been a delay, and hopefully you understand. How's that message going out?
Sure. So I only had maybe one or two of those customers that had to have something immediately. So what I did is that just on just the customer service side is I actually started sending out emails and calls to all of my customers, past and present, just to let because of this pandemic, we have a shortage, um, or I say a stoppage in production, to be safe or to keep the not only safe, but then also to keep the people that deliver items to me and things of that nature. Fortunately, just something we and the rest of the country and the world had to actually understand with this pandemic. So yeah, that the way I've been reaching out to them is just I send out an email blast, but then also send out a calls and text to people just to make sure they understood. Like I said, a push on that one, and I had to actually use two delivery services to make it happen. So, but we made it happen though. That's the main thing.
Yeah, we gotta make sense. And we know as entrepreneurs, we find a way. If there is a way, we're gonna find it. That's one thing that's
Find a way.
absolutely beautiful about being an entrepreneur. You gotta find a way. Now, you mentioned real estate, man, and I'm not quite sure how heavy you are. That sounds like the one that you're in, but not like super in. Have you seen some type of impact from the pandemic as far as what you do with real estate?
Not necessarily. So I work with commercial and residential real estate. Haven't really seen that much. Only thing that I guess sometimes is that people depend on their paychecks to be able to pay rent, and if they don't have paychecks, then there could be issues there. Haven't received or haven't gone to that part as of yet, but right now seems like everything's okay. the commercial businesses that are in a part of the real estate that they operating. They don't necessarily have to, or they don't depend on people to be able to operate. So I haven't had any, seen any impact on that end. So again, just doesn't super crash. Therefore, and my values are going down. I should be fine on that side.
This is interesting. So you said as long as the markets don't super crash. Now that's an interesting comment. All right, that's an interesting comment because the market as far as digitally, right, is actually crashing, right? We've seen 25, 30%, 40% drops in valuations of companies and their stock price and things like that. But you just said if the market doesn't really crash. So there's a difference between tangible and actually feeling this stuff on the ground versus virtual and seeing it on Wall Street. Would you agree?
Oh, totally, totally. And I guess let me rephrase what I was saying there. Um, I've been an entrepreneur probably so to me I've seen 2008, I've seen 2012, I've seen 2016, and I'm also a man of faith. So I get to a point where I understand that um, things are going to happen, and you have to adjust as an entrepreneur and being in business this long. Um, when I like I've seen this part happen before, I'm okay. But if it gets to a point where it gets any worse or continues to get worse for a longer periods of time, then that can get pretty. But I will say, yeah, virtually and digitally, I've seen the impact before, but it's not as bad as I've seen before. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, but I'm glad that you said it. You've seen it before. Everybody put in console adjust. You've seen it before. So if you've seen it before, and as a man of faith, you say, man, this has happened before. I mean, this has happened before. It's happened before. Then let me ask this question. From what you have seen before, what typically happens after this? Right. So we've seen it before. We see that something comes, it happens, but then there's also a reaction, and then there's the aftermath. And the aftermath is not always that's not a bad word. That just means after the pandemic, right? We have the aftermath.
Right.
So, in your experience in life and paying attention, what happens after?
Uh, yeah. So let me say this before I guess I answer. Put some context to people to understand me. TD Jake said this one time. He said, "Some people draw within the lines. I create them." So when I create those lines and I create those plans, there's always a contingency plan for everything that happens in my businesses. So when it comes to a point to where you understand um, what this world is about, what this entrepreneur thing is about, and again, and it's not tooting my horn or anything, but I mean, we're doing more than door-to-door sales. Like we have some large contracts that we're dealing with. So I, as an entrepreneur, I cannot just walk in and think that everything's going to always be peaches and cream. I have to make sure that I always have some contingency plan, the strategies that are behind there. So as a part of some of my strategies that are intact already, I already understand that right after this pandemic ends and everyone calms down, the world calms down, we just go back into our regularly scheduled program. And the thing is you have to understand that, if those stocks tank, at some point in time, they're going to rise. For some of the government clients that I have, unfortunately, I mean, well, not unfortunately, but those government clients, they don't shut down. It doesn't matter what happens around the world because the good thing is I work with and connect with the clients that have to run or their operations through the government at all points in time. So I never really see any impact. I'm sorry, I see the impact, but I always know when I can kind of feel it easing up and moving forward. So to make sure that I have everything that I need, I put everything in strategy, and I always think about worst case scenarios and always, find ways to outline those scenarios. So therefore, once all this is done, I can go right back into it and keep moving. If that makes sense.
Absolutely, man. It's a like button, share button if you're carrying the gas. Footwear over Instagram. I'll inbox you, man. I definitely got to bring you back on. In case you guys, I shot you out. I don't know if you're still here or not, but we got the Black Owned Shoe Company that's joined us here on Instagram. Definitely gonna bring you on, brother Tariq, when we have some time. We'll coordinate if you're still there. So I'll inbox you. Hit the like button and share button if you care, guys. It's just, I mean, this is great information, calming information, especially if you're in business. But more specifically, if you put yourself in good situation into a good situation as relates to what you built. He's mentioned contingency plans. He's saying, hey, prepare, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. These are the things he's saying as he's built his businesses, right? Not just one businesses as well. Now, you're a serial entrepreneur, and you've gotten into these different areas. Is that just you just love to start stuff and move? I mean, what talk to us about the mindset of a serial entrepreneur?
And as kind of my secrets here, but it a lot of times is okay to be good at one thing. I think my mindset is I'm good at multiple things. I may not necessarily be great at multiple things, but my team is great. As a serial entrepreneur, it took some experience for me to understand that you can't do it all by yourself, but you have to hire light people who can strategy, execute your thought process. The same things that you think about, the same things that, or how you would execute something, or how you would take on a project or plan or execute something. It is the same thing that you would do with your team. So I kind of do some of those. I forget what they're called. The test that the personality test. I always look at those first and kind of see how people mesh with me. And I know when people look when I'm hiring them or whatever, and they're like, "Man, I don't want to take a test with you," but some people understand it, and the reason why, because you have to be able to mesh along with what my mission and vision is for each business and each individual um, area that I cover. So I think for me, again, from experience, I've learned that the best route is to make sure that you have a great team that helps you execute your strategy. And after that, from a mindset of a serial entrepreneur, I can always point and say, "Hey, you're it. Take the rims of this thing and start rolling." So I think that's the positive about my mindset.
Absolutely, man. Again, big man culture up in the house, man. Multiple streams of income. The serial entrepreneurs being has built 4 different businesses. I know he ain't gonna stop there. As he probably mindset on that, leaving that legacy. And one thing that I teach our brother is that generational wealth is built through business. All right, that's where the generational wealth, when we start talking about inheritance to our children, actually comes through business. And that's one thing unfortunately, it has not really been taught to our community, right? So, and it's not to mean that you have to build the business, but hey, why don't you be a part of a great business sometimes as well? What I want to do now, guys, really, because I do care about people, it's not really all about. I do want to make sure we do a quick update on Rona, right? The Rona rises, the Rona ridiculousness, whatever you want to call it, just so you guys can have. Again, I like to give stats and numbers. Many people are just floating off the top of their head, opinions and all this stuff, but I just like to get the raw stats as we can see it. So it's actually it's getting a little worse, okay? Because we haven't really quarantined or whatever, but we still want to keep things in the context. So we're over here at Corona.help. This German guy has been following. I mean, I'm gonna send him some money just because he's been trying his best to keep up with everything for other people to be able to utilize this site. He's doing it pro bono. He's just saying, hey, just send $1 or $2 so I can help keep up because the servers. But you see, he's got stats, he's got graphs, he's got everything, man. But across the world, across the 195 countries, across the 7.7 billion people in the world, we've up to date, we've got about 350,000 that have been infected Out of those 350,000 have been infected across the world since the time that this thing has been unleashed. 100,000 of them have actually recovered. There's only been 15,000 deaths confirmed from this crisis out of the 7.7 billion people in the world. Okay. Out of the 350 that have been infected, only 15,000 have actually passed away, according to the numbers that we have. Now, the increase of infections has actually ballooned in the past 24 hours. 13,000 new cases have been confirmed. And obviously, here's the reason why. Because they're actually testing now. Go figure. Right? Go figure. They're testing so they can actually see that more people probably having it than they thought. Okay? The increase of deaths has increased as well. And this is, but what's also important to see is where these deaths are happening. Okay, where they're coming from. And I can tell you, the biggest problem is not the United States. Okay, the biggest problem is in Italy. I don't know what they're doing over there in Italy. They done sent the Cubans, they sent their doctors. Everybody's sending some help over to Italy. And Italy is they not kicking away with their boot. They saying, help. We don't know what the heck we're doing over here. So you guys can come to the site. You can take a look at it again. I just like people to have real raw stats. I see so many people that won't look at numbers, won't analyze numbers, and they just go with whatever. And the media, you got to understand, the media's job is to keep your attention so they can actually get your money and they can actually have more ads. It's all about money for media. So they're not going to tell you about the recovery rate. They're not going to tell you about the manipulation of numbers. They're going to give you the most audible numbers that they can give you so you can go hit the share button and send it on your Facebook page. And y'all can have long conversations about this and that and this and that and this and that without actually saying, well, let's go look at the numbers ourselves. Okay? So here's the deal, man. Here's what I find so phenomenal. China, which has had the biggest infection, with Wuhan and all that stuff. I guess where it started, quote unquote, I don't know. 81,000 infected across the whole time frame in China. But here's the deal. 72,000 have recovered. Okay? They're only dealing with 5,000. Every day, their recovery rate goes up, right? And every day they're saying, hey, we need to close down some of these Rona hospitals. So in China, they only got 5,400 active that they're still dealing with. It's almost over in China. Now, I don't know about you, big man, but hey, if I was the United States or I was somebody that's dealing with this and it's ramping up, I'd probably reach out to China to say, China, what the heck did you do? And follow that lead. Yeah, what'd you do? Because we want to make sure that we don't have as many and we have as much recovery if this thing goes rampant in our area. Now, Italy don't seem like they talking to China because Italy got 59,000 infected. They only have 7,000 that's recovered. They're still dealing with 48,000 active cases that have been confirmed to have contracted this virus, according to these numbers. So look at this. So China had more infected, less deaths. Italy has less infected, more deaths to this virus in Italy. Now we get down to the United States, which is where most of us live who might be watching this. 35,000 infected in the United States, where we have over 325 million people. Only 471 have died. I just want you guys to put that in the context. 400 people, let's just say 500 rounded up, out of 325 million. Not that more won't die, but we can't conjecture on how many more will die. Here's how many have died. Got 178 recoveries, so we still got to figure out what we need to do to get recovery going on, which is why we're starting to see more quarantine coming out. Say, hey, stay away from each other. But it's very interesting to me. I was saying to myself, big man, I said, dang, wait a second. Y'all done closed the beach. Y'all done closed the school. Right. Well, the golf club was open yesterday. They was out there in droves. Out there, I mean, on Saturday, out there hitting the golf. I said, wait a second, what? What? Ain't no sense. Right? Then I look up Big Man. I said, okay, wait a second. All the Congress going to meet. What did Congress meet? They meet in this little room where they pack in there about 50, 60, 100 people to talk about policy. This not making no sense. Here's the thing. I'm just saying, don't all lives matter? Right? What is Amazon doing? Amazon is out there. They hiring 100,000 people to work in their warehouses to push products. Don't all lives matter? I mean, I can't be the only one. I'm just saying. So anyway, I'm not gonna toot that horn. I'm just trying to give people some stats. United States, where most of us live, quite possibly. We can break this down by state. Who are the states that's having the biggest impact? New York. It makes sense why New York got the National Guard. It will make sense why they're saying, hey, they got 16,000 people. The next one is Washington with only 1,900 people. Okay, so New York said, hey, we closing everything down. We bringing in the National Guard. We quarantine, self-quarantine. We shut down the city when we got 16,000 people infected. It makes sense to me. Good call, Kumo, or whatever your name is, Governor Kumo and Senator or Mayor de Blasio. Good job. But man, when you get down here, you start looking at Tennessee, you only got 500 infected, you only got 2 deaths. I mean, come on. It ain't apples to apples. That's all I can say. It ain't apples to apples. Some ain't, but these are just the numbers. What I encourage people to do is simply analyze and interpret numbers. As business people, that's what we do. Okay, how do we sell more masks this month than we sold last month? Oh, more people are buying masks because more people are concerned about getting sick. No wonder why we're sold out. That's simple enough. Right?
True.
Now, brother, big man, I'm not going anywhere with this. I'm just saying, I don't know if you've even looked at numbers. Maybe you have, because we concerned. We want to make sure that people get right information. But as you see this, any take on what you're seeing as far as real raw stats, current, up to date now? We don't know what's going to happen. We can again prepare for the worst, hope for the best. It could be great, could be bad. We don't know. What are you seeing?
So, and it's funny you pulled this. That's actually a good site, by the way. So my numbers were off for Georgia, which is where I'm at, because I think and this was probably like a week ago though, so my numbers may be outdated.
Here's Georgia.
Here's
Georgia right here.
Yeah. What they had mentioned before is Metro Atlanta probably has about 5 million people. The city of Atlanta only has about 400,000. That's a whole nother story, but I have to explain that to people. Metropolitan Atlanta has about 5 million people. And at that time, there were only like 6 or 7 deaths. Now I can see it's up to about 25, and not downplaying death at no point at all, and not saying it's not serious, but the impact they won't show. Again, and you at a great point, that they'll show you the worst numbers so they can get to their sites and get their ratings up, things of that nature, and show you that it's the worst thing in the world. And it's scare tactic. A lot of times as a entrepreneur, I focus more on raw, real numbers versus what the MSNBCs and people like that they send out, because what happens is when people see real numbers, they say, oh, it may not be as bad as I thought it was. But again, if you are a person that only watches what you see on social media and what you see right there in the face or what you see right in your face, then you won't understand to get to a better source and understand how to get to so I have it's funny, my degree, my undergrad degree is in social work. My master's is in public administration, yet I own an IT firm. But that's a whole nother story about my journey. But it's interesting how people use sample populations. They'll get on the commercials and say, oh, 1 out of every such and such has this. Well, yeah, I mean, what is your sample population? 12 people? And people will take those numbers and run with them. And that's one of the things that I always encourage people to do, is to do your own research, see with your own eyes what the impact really is. And I think that will take away a lot of this out here.
Absolutely, man. You just said a wonderful thing, man. Everybody put in comments, do your own research. That's right, man. Numbers don't lie, people do. Okay, and we can make those numbers fit our story. Right, his story, her story, no matter how we are. We do that all the time in debate, right? Oh, I found this stat that said this, and be like, well, I found this other stat that said this, and it was the exact same source. Okay, like we can find what we're looking for. That's exactly what happens. People find what they're looking for. Also, what I wanted to do, guys, here on the Money and Power Show, we want to make sure that we connect the things that we're talking about to the market. Because of course, I do welcome you to Wall Street. I want you to understand, for the love of money is the root of all evil. It all comes back to the money. So follow the money, right? So let's see what's going on actually here, guys. Do a quick little market recap. And again, I want you guys got any questions for our brother that's here with us today about multiple streams of income, about serial entrepreneurship, about any of his businesses, we'll bring those up as well. But we must understand what's going to happen today in the market. It's going to be a bad day in the market. The reason why, because that bill that everyone's all excited about, it didn't get passed. Okay, $1,000, $2,500, whatever, $1,200, all the debate, it didn't get passed. All right, so the bill did not move to approval to send you a check. So I don't know, you might need to write to somebody about that. Like, where's my check? That's what I be saying, because I ain't really expecting no check, because that ain't how I operate. I ain't gonna look for a handout. But anyway, my point is, you know, you might want to start asking your politicians, your senators, your governors, your mayors. You might want to start getting involved. Again, it's the Money and Power Show. Where's my check? Okay, so it didn't get passed. So now you got the bill stalls and the city's gonna go into lockdown. So it's got a lot of fear in the market. Markets are gonna drop. The market is gonna drop, which presents another even a greater opportunity. Because here's the deal: if I say this to people all the time, Brother Mark, if you, let's just say you love Apple, you like, man, I want to give me some Apple, and you know, just own some of that company because it's a wonderful, great company that provides value and service to the marketplace. Matter of fact, you're in IT, so IT would probably be something like a NVIDIA or something like that. I don't know, Google or something like that. But anyway, my point is, you know, you love this company, and then you found out like, wow, before when I wanted it, it was $400, and I thought it was great value. Now it's $100, and it's like, well, wait a second. If I liked it at $400, surely I like it at $100. I mean, that wouldn't be the, but everybody don't think that way. And for some reason, we're working on mindset, because listen, we've been thinking how we've been thinking for 30 some odd years. We've been conditioned. We've been thinking how we've been thinking as it relates to money, as it relates to life. Your whole life, you've been thinking like this since you were about 5. So it's going to take a while to say, wait a second. There is a different thought process that I can adapt over time, and we'll keep going through this, okay? Now, I'm not going to talk about how grocery store restock. That's not important to me. The truck stops are some of America's most essential businesses. That's right. So you mentioned earlier, Brother Mike, that you are connected as far as your IT is concerned. You're connected to, you know, places that's still going to use the government. In other words, essential businesses. Everybody putting console essential. Essential business. We must understand that what's coming down the pike is non-essential businesses are going to be shut down temporarily. Here's what's coming down the pike: barber shops being shut down, nail salons being shut down, hairstylists being shut down, lash girls being shut down, estheticians being shut down. That's the next phase of shutdown. And then you got to ask yourself, if you're in those industries, how do you plan to sustain yourself if they're telling you you're going to be shut down? I did a whole video, I did a whole broadcast on that, and I'll do another one coming up maybe tomorrow on how you can still get rich during the Rona crisis. You got to have to be pliable, flexible. This is why multiple streams. Now, here's the thing, Brother Mike. Even during this time, I didn't even have it up on the screen. My bad, y'all. I'm sorry. Even during this time, over the past 5 years when I do my consulting, you know what I tell the barber and I tell the hairstylist and I tell the lash tech? I say, yeah, this is a service that you're providing. Where's your product? What can people buy from you if they never come to come and sit in your chair? I've been having the same conversation. Like, where's your product? Where's your shampoo? Where's your conditioner? Where's your products that you recommend that people can use so they can maintain themselves and they can still have you at top of mind? Where's your product? You provide a service. Where's your product?
Yep. I meant to cut you off there, but it's funny you mentioned that because I had that conversation with my barber because he actually owns the shop. And it's probably as soon as we get off of here, I thought about it. I need to hit him up because he's got an area where he can actually sell products there in the front. And that definitely would help, especially if they're going to shut it down. And they haven't officially shut it down that I know of in Atlanta. And maybe they have, I don't know. But
no, not in Atlanta. It's happened in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. And what typically happens is it starts one place and then it filters to all the rest of the places. That's just how our country works. And again, I said, is it in New York? It makes sense. Right? But does that make sense? And I don't know if that makes sense in Illinois or wherever it may be.
Right.
So let's keep going,
yeah,
guys.
I
Take
would
a little
definitely
more
say that's
market here.
Sorry. I was just saying
Go ahead.
that's definitely important because you have to almost be making money while you sleep, and you don't always understand that either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what my mentor said, man. If you don't learn how to make money while you're asleep, you'll always be working for it. So here's the deal, guys. Keep going. Quick updates. Fresh wave of coronavirus job losses is about to come crashing down. That might be an important thing for us to look at. Well, what jobs are they talking about? Every job, some places are hiring right now, right? And why am I doing this? Because there's some of you guys that may be impacted with a job loss, and you need to know some of your options that are out there. And what I was saying last night, brother Mike, and no shade, but if you got 9 hours that you have put in place to be able to watch a DJ play music for you to make you feel good, and you ain't spent no time putting together your plan. We're like, okay, has it hit the fan yet? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, wife? How are we gonna make? What adjustments do we need to make? Can we start thinking about some strategies? Can we? You ain't got no time for that. That to me is stupid to me. And I'm gonna talk about both sides of the coin tomorrow when we do our How to Get Rich Doing Wrong, because there's things to learn from Greg Nice. There's things to learn from what he did. Right? No shade on him, but my goodness, 9 hours, and I can't even get y'all to watch 1 hour that actually fill you with power. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. So here's the thing: a fresh wave of job losses, right, are coming crashing down. Let's see what they're talking about here. All right, published Thursday. This week is expected to be much worse. Goldman Sachs predicts that the shocking 2.25 million Americans will have filed for their first week of unemployment benefits. That will be 8 times the number of people who filed last week and the highest level on record. Unemployment is driving fears about jobs in this. We'll see. The Dow Jones down 35% from all-time highs. It's going to talk about, okay, fearful devastation layoffs in the travel. See, I know how to interpret news and find stuff. Travel, hospitality industries. Governments are taking radical steps to support businesses. United Kingdom on Friday pledged to pay 80% of wages up to £2,500 per month for employees who can't go to work because of the pandemic. That could also help. Economists are hopeful that such drastic measures can ease some of the pain. Capital economists believe the United Kingdom unemployment will now rise from 4% to 6% instead of 8%, as had been previously feared. Man, they got 30 days to brought this on. Man, obviously, so the travel, hospitality, I didn't know there's a hospitality industry, but I guess that would be hotels, cruise lines, stuff like that. Okay, so I'm thinking hospitality just being hotels, right? So we see, and we can begin to understand which industries are being impacted the most. And ask yourself, are you in one of those industries that is being impacted the most? And don't wait. I'm telling you, don't wait till the guillotine come to chop your head off. Take your head up off the thing and say, okay, I'm not gonna wait to get fired. I'm not gonna wait until I got another paycheck. I'm gonna make a pivot right now. If I see you can't look and see that death is coming, that the enemy is about to strike, that there's a thief in the night, and you not do nothing to protect your house. That just makes no sense to me. But it does make sense when we realize that people are not looking ahead. And I believe, Brother Mike, that's one of the biggest problems. We don't look ahead. We don't say what's coming down the pipe. And we can see it. It's not like we're to the point where we can't see it. We see it. What's your thoughts, Brother Mike?
Yeah. I agree, man. So here's one of the things that I can provide some insight from that, not only being an entrepreneur, but also being a family man. I'm a dad. So one of the things I focus on, the check-in, not just with my kids kind of sit in and do it as well. So what that does is not only teaches my 10, 8, and hey, mom and dad used to have these check-ins that would understand, our financial state, spiritual state, all those things in one. And then my wife and I are able to do that within ourselves to make sure that we've got everything kind of, you know, on pace. Everything is kind of rolling the way it needs to. We look at our financial status, and it's the same thing that we do with my business or all my businesses. So we all have some of them actually has some daily calls because of the impact that we have with these, you know, contracts. That it's pretty heavy on our end. So I would say to people that interest or the need to stop and think of these or these check-ins or something that are very important, because again, you never know, and always have to forecast and make sure that you have yourself, your business, and the people that are associated with you all intact and ready for whatever happens. When a pandemic happens, the stuff doesn't really, I won't say it doesn't bother me, because I think about other people. Again, I'm the same way that you are. I think about who's been impacted, you know. And when you talked about the service industry, I have some people that are bartenders, and they strictly depend on their wages from in the hospitality. I've got a good friend who is a concierge, and imagine if nobody's coming to the hotel, or what do you do? So, and those are the first people that I always think about. So again, it's all about those check-ins, and I would say or suggest to you, focus on those check-ins and make sure you always understand your financial state, but then also understand what's going on in the world. Take up your, you know, 30 minutes to an hour and just understand what trends are happening, what things are possibly happening. And you don't believe all of them as much as you need to do your own research. Make sure that people understand. I'm sorry, and make sure that you understand what's going on around the world. And I'll admit, real quick, I used to be the guy that I didn't want to watch the news at all, because it got on my nerves to watch how many people, you know, being killed, and the officer related shootings and a lot of other things. So it really got on my nerves. I'll be totally transparent that I kind of strayed away from the news, but I found apps and found different resources that I can reach out to where I can skip a lot of those things, because I'm a high strung guy when it comes to social interaction and things of that nature. But I found tools and the right resources that help me to understand the meat of the sandwich. Like, I don't need all the other stuff. Give me what I need so I can continue to move forward, and then see how that impacts me and the people that are associated to me as well.
Absolutely, man. Everybody put in console check in, man. That was a great tip, man. To be a check, man. What? Just imagine for your household, just for your household, if you had you
Right,
said, you know what, we getting back to us talking on a regular basis,
right,
and
right.
also what I found very valuable, what you just said, brother Mike, is that when you come together, when two or more join together in His name, when you come together and you actually have a conversation and give everybody an opportunity to think and share their thoughts, right? How powerful is that? It's not
True.
one. It's not a what is not you know, communism. It's not like one voice. It's like, wait a second, let's all share our thoughts on what's going on. And now we can say, oh, I didn't look at it that way. You get different angles. You get angles from your children. Oh, this is how they seeing this thing. This is what they understand. Versus it being, well, no, this is the only thought that need to go by, like you some dictator or something like that over the household. So I think that's absolutely wonderful thing for people to pick up, man, to have dialogue. That's the thing. Dialogue. Dialogue, which people don't understand, is actually there's actually two voices or more going on, not just one. And some of us, we say, hey, we want to have a conversation, but we don't want to listen. We just want to talk. That could be a problem. You got two lips,
Right.
you got two ears and one mouth. Go ahead, brother Mike.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think, again, um, so my grandfather, one of my grandfathers, he was one of the first black farmers in Wake County, which is, I represent, well, Wake County, North Carolina. Um, and he always, without even knowing, was teaching us entrepreneurs than my dad. So my dad worked at a factory or mill for about 40 years, but my dad always had this thing where every person needs a side hustle. And we didn't know what he was teaching me at that point. But I would watch my dad. We lived in the country, man. So my dad would sell, barbecues like that on the corners at on Saturday mornings. We would go up, we would do that. We have people come to our house and buy it. We had pears and apple trees. We'd take that, break them down, bag them up, we would sell it. Small things like that. I didn't even realize, honestly, until probably my dad passed away in 15. I was like, dang, my dad actually was my first view of entrepreneurship outside of my grandfather, even though they had full-time jobs, because in our area it was, hey, let's go in, let's you got to work this job for 40, 50 years and get there on time, and then you leave and they give you to the turkey. That doesn't make sense these days, and a lot of people now is that entrepreneurship. And again, I'm not here to sell, not for everyone. However, entrepreneurship and having at least or multiple streams of income always uh, should be a part of your. And so again, I involve my children now because my children have small businesses that we're trying to start up for them. 10, 8, and 5, they can understand and live through that life. And again, I'm not forcing it on them. But my daughter, let's definitely say, is one of the people that one of the people was one of my really focusing on something of that nature in mom and dad, and sees that how we are making things work, if you will. And they see the impact. They see a lot of these conference calls. They see some of the frustration that we have sometimes, but they also see some of the good stuff too. And I help them to understand that it is important for us to, as a family, to be able to relay that through our actions versus our words. And I think my kids are kind of understanding it. They haven't got there all the way because they're still young, but I think that's going to definitely be a good thing moving forward for them. So yeah, man, just a couple tidbits to kind of put out to some people.
Absolutely, man. So I want to take a look, guys. We got a brother here again taking his time to be with us here today on the Money and Power Show, talking about money, that'd be economics, and talking about power, that'd be politics and laws that are made, and mindset, really, as well. He's the owner of Big Man, CEO of Big Man Culture, as you see on the screen here. Talk to us a little bit about this website, brother Mike.
Yeah, man. So then there's passion. Passion is to redefine the standard of what culture is for big and tall men. So again, we actually custom suits, custom clothing, not just suits, but also shirts. And we have access to um, shoes. Like, for instance, I wear a size 15. My brother wears a size 16 and 17. I got 7 foot tall clients and brothers 6'5", 6'6". About we're not able to go into a store like you guys are. Or when I say you guys, the regular people are, and just walk in and just buy things. And you have my good buddy Mike last week talking about fashion, and I think one of the things that people don't understand for big guys with long arms and big shoulders and big everything else is that we can't just walk into regular store. And some of the stores that they have for us don't necessarily focus, actually taking those clothes and looking like something. So we redefine that standard by providing for people to be able to not only dress well, but dress for success, dress casually, dress for any type of option or outing that you may have. We also provide a lifestyle as well. We tell people, or we're able connections to have form relationships with it. Now people understand anything from dating and relationships to cologne, wines and spirits and cigars and there's even a lot of people we've connected with, not only just in the Atlanta area, but also DC, Philly, California, a lot of other places. So again, big man culture redefined the standard of what a true, from a big and tall perspective, is really what we focus on.
Absolutely. And we'll pull up your other side. Again, you guys check out bigmanculture.com. If you know some big men that need to get some culture and redefine the standard, make sure you let them know about the website that they can, find what they may need or what they're looking for. You also have another site here. I know it's probably more of a technical thing, but if you want to tell us a little bit about Choose EISI or Instinctive Solutions Incorporated.
Yeah, Instinctive Solutions. Yeah. So again, that's what I've been doing for now 13 years. When I say Instinctive Solutions, actually, again, I think I told you my journey started in social work for about 8 months. Came to, I started public administration, and right before I graduated, I got an internship with Mayor Shirley Franklin and the city of Atlanta in HR, and sent me over to the Oracle project, and we were learning HR and finance. Learned everything I could. I was the one guy that soaked up every single thing. I came back and I walked away from there to start Instinctive Solutions. I was an independent wiring people. Instinctive Solutions has grown into a service related firm. So we partner with a few of our, really provide HR, finance, and payroll solutions for large and small companies. Again, a lot of our companies now have been, excuse me, our management consulting side, which means that we're able to understand not only what their strategies are, but also execute those. And yeah, you can see on my site now, Toyota, Verizon, and clients that we've had. We focused a lot on helping them to be able to execute strategy to implement, like I said, HR, finance, payroll. So if I give it to you, how I tell my 78-year-old mom, what do you do? I work with computers, but my self basically and someone has a clean slate, and we basically write and code and strategize for them to be able to start from to upgrade to a larger scale system, which helps them to be able, again, pay their employees performance, again, financials. If the entire organization has, some financial, not only just challenges, but also the upgrades to technologies, we help them to implement those as well. So and I've mentioned Georgia State University and West Virginia University, a couple other, and able to help them as far as to not only their population, but also their employees as well. So yeah, man, it's a plus to my end, but Instinctive Solutions is my go-to. And that's the one that remains consistent.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Again, think the solution, big man culture, CEO, entrepreneur, multiple streams of income, and everybody putting council Black excellence, man. I just want to take some time to just show appreciation for this brother, man. That's not only is he sharing things from a business perspective as a businessman, but sharing some things as a father, as a man in the family. And quite honestly, we know that that's lacking in our community. So to see it. And we know it's actually happening, but we very rarely see it. That's the thing. It's not like it doesn't exist. It's just that we've allowed other people to control the narrative to show us what's not happening, and we're not controlling the narrative to show what actually is happening. And so everybody put in council Black excellence, because I believe that's what we have here today, a representation of that. And especially we always want to lift up our sisters, but we must make sure we lift up our brothers as well, that are doing a bang up job, again, running multiple businesses. Again, a family man is putting his family first, a man of God, 3 children that he's raising as well, and giving them a good foundation to go out and fight in this world. I mean, I'm not going to take it lightly, brother. And again, I believe you should give people the roses before they pass away. And I'm just going to take time to show my appreciation for you as a black man in this community, in this world, that's doing outstanding things in an outstanding way. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. And again, it was such a pleasure to be able to meet you, because again, even meeting means that you actually have to show up, right? I could have decided, hey, I ain't coming to that, or that ain't for me. But for you to show up, but for me to show up, and then to have that thing at the men's, you might want to tell people a little bit about how we met at the men's, the thing that you and my sister put together. We had to show up.
Right. If
we didn't show up, we wouldn't have been able to connect. If we didn't connect, then we wouldn't be here where we at right here today. So that's another thing I want to share with people. Show up, get out, connect, and then you never know the kind of connection that you can make, man. Let me see if we catch up on these comments, brother. They're tagging people, letting them know, hey, man, we got some big men in our family. Want you to come on over here and see where y'all can go shop at. Fantastic, man. The Jack making coach. Create multiple streams of income. He's tagging some more people. Black excellence. That's right. Black excellence. Absolutely. Black excellence. Black excellence. Man, Brother Moss, man, I'm going to give you some time here as we begin to close out our show. It's an opportunity for you to share your last words to people, to give them some hope, some faith. Encourage them as it relates to maybe multiple streams of income. You ever put all your eggs in one basket? We're just going to take some time to just listen to you, because I believe you got some wisdom to share. And they say there is safety in wise counsel.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. So and before to mention how we met. So yeah, actually we had a conference back in October, and Made Man conference actually. And so what it focused on, it was areas from style and fashion first, and just things as the typical man would be able to experience. And again, I never shy away from the spiritual side of me, religion on people. It's like, oh, you need to do that. I mean, whoever, whatever connection you do have, it has to be something outside of you. And something that you have to reach towards. And that's something that I even say to my kids. Like my wife actually created this Scrabble board, and it has words that mention love and being kind. And it's a Scrabble board that she put on in the hallway where my kids sleep. So when they wake up, it's a reminder to them that this is, what we need to do every day. So I think what's important for us is to understand is that, everyone has the same 24 hours. Everyone has the same opportunities, and maybe not in the same environments. But don't get it twisted, because I'm a serial entrepreneur. I come from the countryest places in Apex, North Carolina, but I love my Apex. I love where I'm from. Those humble beginnings that you would say helped me to understand what it is to be on both sides. So creating these businesses wasn't easy. I've been through the worst and the best. I've seen some things that people have never seen. I've been to places where, and I always tell people, sometimes it's like, you might see the outside, but you go to a day where you got 5 accounts and they all negative. And I ain't talking about $10 negative either. I've seen it all, been through it all. But again, you persevere, you survive. You got to go through some of these things. And I'm not saying entrepreneurship means that you always have to fail. But the main thing you always focus on is you. And it may not happen, but you have to think, hey, I'm always going to win. My kids say something every night. They say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If God before me, who can be against me? And the last thing they say, because my last name is Moss, is they say, I'm a Moss, I win. I'm a Moss, I win. I'm a Moss, I win. They say it 3 times. And when they start repeating that in their head and they go to sleep on that, they wake up knowing the next morning we're going to win. The night we're going to win. The day we're going to win. I don't necessarily drill into their heads as much as that you have to give them some type of foundation. And so that happens in your family, but it also happens in your business. A lot of employees that you have to almost encourage them and help them understand that hey, if we're winning, as a business and I'm winning and you're an extension of me, then I need to give you the strategies to help you win. And I also need to make sure that you're paid properly, and I need to make sure that you know, are okay. I need to make sure, hey, how is that dog that you talked about? Your family, how's your mom doing that's going through breast cancer? You know, I have to remember those things. So a lot of times when I wake up in the morning, it is to make sure, or one of my things outside of prayer and everything else, making sure my family's okay, is to make sure the people that are associated with me are okay. And if I do a great job at doing that, then you're going to do a great job at making sure that the business is okay. And they're not talking behind your back. And if they are, that's fine too. But people and understanding people and caring about people is very important. And I try to tell other business guys about that. I mean, I've been in circles with some really influential people, men and women. It's interesting to hear their perspective. Some people are kind of like, oh, you know, I've got enough money. I don't care nothing about any of these people. But again, those people are the people that make you money. They are the people that help you in that. So again, the main thing to run these multiple streams of income, different businesses. You know, I dibble and dabble in the stock market, but I've got guys that'll help me and say, "Oh, let's think about this and let's think it through before you make some of these moves." Wealth managers, people like that are people that are undervalued a lot of times. But if you don't get to that point to their services, I mean, you'll never know how valuable they are. I mean, those people have been in my houses. You know, they've been a part of projects and things of that nature. So definitely, as we, I guess, close out, one of the main things I want people to multiple streams of income. Just make sure that you have everything organized, and I'll be transparent and say a lot of times, you know, I'm building the plane and flying it at the same time, but I've gotten better because out to people who are smarter than me, to be honest with you, or to reach out to people who have the same goal and drive, and it helps them to be able to, and vice versa. You know, always make sure that they're taking the needs that they have personally, whatever it is. Make sure that they are okay and still help you. And lastly, like I said, you know, when it comes to family, that's one of my main things. Earlier, Evan, when you said that well, the Bible says that a good man children's children. Um, I wake up every morning and it's weird. I pray for my grandkids, and I'm 40 in November. But what I do is I pray because I understand that I have to. I'm doing a lot of this stuff for them, or I'm doing a lot. I don't have a blueprint, and I didn't have a blueprint, so I went through all the, you know, the fights and this. I know this is for somebody else. So yeah, man, and that's I just think a little bit different on that, but I want people to understand and think the way. Um, you know, I won't have to be that way, but just think outside of the box, man. And like I said, these pandemics and these things, man, yeah, you'll be able to process behind them. Your strategies and actually focusing and making sure the way they need to. Yeah, man, that's in a nutshell. That's me and some of my thoughts.
Absolutely, man. Everybody put in the comments, so think, hashtag think. I'm gonna continue to press that button. Think, man. Just take some time today. You know, don't wait, don't delay. You know, 24 hours in a day we all got. Some of us spend zero time thinking. Some of us spend 3 to 4 hours thinking. You got to make a choice for yourself. How much time you gonna spend just thinking? Now I know it can be a little uncomfortable sometimes. Get into a place where it's still and it's quiet because we're so used to noise. But man, here's what I've learned. I've come to understand. Most people can't hear God because they spend so much time listening to people. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Most people can't hear God because they spend so much time listening to people. Okay? Take some time to think. Whatever that may be, wherever you are, whether it be about your business, your family, future, Friends, take some time. Take some time today to just simply, you know what? I'm going to walk outside. I'm going to take me a little walk to the mailbox. And it's going to be a little extended walk because this time I just want to look at the sky. I want to hear the birds. I want to know that I'm still alive. And I want to use this tool between my two shoulders to just simply think about whatever that is, about the issue, about the problem, about whatever. Think. And you will be amazed with some of the answers, some of the solutions that come to you. Because the truth is, it's already in you. The truth is, it's already in you. And what I like to say is, all it's waiting on is for you to discover. Everybody putting console discover. You to discover what's already in you. Man, Brother Moss, man, thanks so much again. Big Man Culture. Also, Instinct. Atlanta showing up, man. I know it took us a while to really get this thing and connect, man. I'm so glad we did. I learned a lot about it. Y'all had one perspective, and I'm starting talking. I'm like, oh, this and this and this. Oh my goodness, so much more to uncover. And again, I hope we'll be able to bring you back and talk to us a little bit about government contracting. Hopefully, you had a good time. How'd you enjoy the show, man?
Oh man, I loved it, man. And I think more than anything, you provide a thought process, not necessarily just a show, not necessarily just wisdom, but it's a thought process that you provide, and you don't even realize it, And that's when I first met you, I was like, man, you're thinking and how you relate to people, I guess, appreciate it. You don't understand. So I'll take out the time to honor you as well, man. I appreciate you for your thought process and how you relate it to people through your show, man.
Absolutely, man. What's going on, Discover? They put some stuff in the comments. Thanks so much, Love Your House, everybody else for joining. This is the New Black Wall Street, the Money and Power Show, guys. Again, we got our guests here. We'll have more guests throughout the week. I will be doing a special broadcast probably tomorrow night. I'm actually going to cover how to get rich during the Rona crisis, and we'll actually be focusing on D-Nice, right? We're going to break down what we learned from D-Nice and the quarantine DJ party and how you can actually implement some of these strategies so that you can get rich during this time that we're dealing with right now. Hey, my beautiful people, I want to say thanks so much for joining us, and I want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we need. And you found out here tonight that we should be thanking God that that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
The new Black Wall Street. Thanks you for joining the show. We gave a lot of great tips, but it's time to go. Take the knowledge we shared, hope you use it and grow. We'll see you all there with the next episode of the new Black